Laura, I
Yes.
think there's something wrong with our instructions in the discussion area, in the instructions. Because in the instructions, it says, here's a place to introduce yourself to the community. Why don't you tell us, number one, a little bit about why you're here, and number two, a weird tidbit or fact about you. And unfortunately, Mike, Wayne, Kathy, Amardeep, and Matthew have all neglected to say a weird tidbit or fact. So
Okay, so we will hold off until you enter a weird, although I'll have to do one too, because.
So
Yeah,
here's a weird.
if you refresh that, you'll see I've added one just there now.
oh wait,
Wonderful.
that is why.
I mean, we have lots of weird facts about, like, everybody has a weird fact. So a weird fact about me is that in my house, you are not allowed to have leftover guacamole. If somebody makes guacamole, if somebody brings guacamole, it has to be eaten. You're not allowed to store it, which has led to many a Laura being quite full because guacamole is quite filling. So any weird fact that you're comfortable with sharing, please do.
Having said that, Laura, I've just seen that the last time we edited this was in June. So this has been cooking for a while, and we haven't added tidbits about ourselves as well. So we need to edit our own thing about being bad is weird. So yeah, feel less bad, people who are filming this in.
And Matt, it's great to have you here. And I had mentioned this to Ken of, I love that you just want to shake up the universities. So we're happy to play and help you do that.
I'm now feeling the pressure for how weird my fact needs to be. Like, if
Come
it's
on,
not
this-
weird enough, then that feels a bit lame.
I'm going full weird.
That's what we hope, Mike.
Strap in.
I'm trying to find the photo that goes with my weird, so hold on.
I'm thinking about just tipping this so that Carrie is really annoyed. It doesn't tip though.
I have offended many people by this tidbit about me.
Do you know
When I
that
walk into their houses and I'm like, can I please fix that picture?
Did you know that that is how Jesse James died? Jesse James, legendary cowboy, died because he stood up to fix a crooked picture and somebody shot him in the back. True stuff.
For fixing
Wow.
the picture or just
No,
because?
they were going
No.
to kill him anyways, but he was sitting down. And then when he stood up to fix it, I guess they got a better view.
Laura, that's a great story. I love it. Thank you.
I hope nobody fact checks me on that.
I have a
Oh, yeah.
historian in the office behind me, so I'm going to go ask her when I get off this call.
Mark, you've banned bath mats? That's
We've replaced them all with like wooden bath mats. I do not like cloth bath mats at all. I'm irrationally anti-bath mat. That's about as weird as a fact I can find. I've also noticed the picture behind me is crooked. And I'm now scared to get up and fix it.
And then
So-
just on a, I'm looking through too, since we have a lot of people jumping in on the weird tidbits of different, what you all are looking to do with badging and how, you know, we can sort of support and have a conversation in the time we have. I can see that we were thinking about breakout rooms, and I'm curious, we have about, if we're good as a small community, just staying all together, or would you like to break up? I feel like we can all stay together.
I
What do you
feel
think?
like we found a kindred spirit, Laura, in Adam, who says that he's got
Yeah.
a podcast where they drink alcohol and talk about ed tech.
Yeah.
This sounds awesome. Adam, feel free to link to that podcast because you're going to gain a few subscribers today. We've got someone who's a butterfly gardener, which is fantastic. Thank you, Karen, for sharing. And we've got lots of other interesting and awesome people in here. I'm kind of still waiting for Matthew and for, I think, Vicky to update their introductions, because I feel like I want to issue them a badge, but I can't at the moment, you know? So there's that. So Vicky, if you want to
Okay.
update yours, then Matthew, if you want to update yours, that would be awesome. Who else have we got? Who else hasn't got a link maybe? Greg, do you have a link to where we're talking about now? Are you entirely bemused by what's going on? Bill, how about you? Bill knows what's going on. Bill's frantically typing into the discussion area right now.
Yeah, I reposted this sort of discussion, but for people who are coming in late or don't want to deal with the link, you know, again, feel free to use the Zoom chat.
So Julie, how long do we have left?
I actually, because this is in Mountain Time, I don't know, 10 minutes?
I feel
Anyone
like we've
else?
got about 12, 15 minutes. Is that
12,
right?
15 minutes, yeah. So I'm wondering also if folks are either diving in, or I'd like to hear from more folks just either in response to Cheryl's thoughts or this idea of like how you're interested in using badging. And again, you know, how you're coming into this, you know, whether you're new to badges or you've been doing this for a long time, you know, we are talking about keeping badges weird because obviously I think this group of people is really trying to hold on to an initial spirit of badges of empowering learners and earners and informal learning, and are somewhat constantly fighting against just it turning into sort of a top-down system of credentialing. And there's room for both. I've always felt that there's room for both, for certainly, but it definitely is a constant fight. And many people on this call are constantly taking up arms in a good way, hugging arms to fight the good fight and keep open badges open, and really having a place for people to show their stuff and to share their stuff and have agency over their stuff. Amardeep, am I saying your name right? And if not, I apologize, but yeah.
Yes, you did.
Jump in here.
Correct. Thank you. And it's good to see at least Callie. Hi. So it's good to see at least one face that I know here. First of all, sorry for my mic being.
Oh, I do it all the time.
I wanted to know, so I'm setting up a brand new institute at Unity College. It's a workforce institute, and we're going to be offering micro-credentials and certificates, both for credit and non-credit. And I really want to incorporate badges a lot into that. The employer partners that I've talked to are uber excited about the badge part of it. Tell me a resource. I haven't found it. Tell me a resource where I can go and I can look at a layman's explanation of badges to show to other people, not to me, to show to other people, particularly the skeptics.
Okay, so Laura and Doug have linked to a badge wiki page at the same, literally simultaneously in the chat. And Amardeep also, you know, one of the things that Laura and Doug have also helped us with are there's open courses here in this community that you are free to dive into. So I think those two things. So there's a Badge Curious course. And again, it really, Doug and Laura did a really nice job of just like having it be, I know in terms of the skeptics, like if you have more serious bunch, it has a light touch, but I think also is serious enough that gives sort of a good overview. And it does really help explain it to others. So I really hope that folks that are new to badging or just want to sort of dive in and get a little more insight, like will find that useful and give us feedback. Because the other thing is like, if, you know, if there are gaps, if there are still questions, I know, Matt, I sent this to Ken as well for your team. I think these learning experiences is a kind of a level set a little bit, we hope. So yeah, so dive in there and yeah.
Yeah, and also two things on that. I can see the question in the chat here from Molly as well. So I just want to point to Kerry in a moment, if that's all right, Kerry, about verifiable credentials. So Amardeep, it kind of depends on what you want to do with badges. If, for example, as a university, as a college, as some kind of formal learning institution, which is my background, you want to issue badges as credentials have been done as institutions for years in perpetuity, then you don't really need to explain what badges are, because they're just going to act as credentials in your community. If, however, you want to do something slightly different, which is what we're trying to encourage people to do in the Keep Badges Weird community, then you've got a bit of a different sell on your hands. And so, like Julie said, you could join the Keep Badges Weird community. You could point to different examples which we can help you with in terms of things which people are doing differently with badges which are not quite credential-like. But it kind of depends on what you're trying to do. And I just want to point to Kerry, because Kerry's doing a lot of work around verifiable credentials at the moment. And without geeking out too much on the technology, I think it's important to answer Molly's question about the difference between open badges, which are tied kind of to email addresses, versus where things are going with verifiable credentials, which is a bit different. Kerry.
Yeah, sure. Molly, the situation that you're describing is exactly why we never really like email addresses being associated with open badges at the very beginning. It's been this problem all along. And unfortunately, there's really no way to get those badges back if those email addresses aren't accessible anymore. But we're shifting towards something new in Open Badges 3.0. It's called decentralized identifiers. And these are identifiers that work based on, I'm not going to get too far into it, but based on cryptography. And basically, you will have a wallet app, much like an Apple Wallet app, except that it'll use this technology, and you'll be able to create an identity on there and then use that for all of your badges. So that will make it possible so that you control the identity and it can't go away. Right. So that's one approach that will help fix this in the future.
Kerry, do you have a link to the most recent version of your paper for the Open Badges 3.0 proposal for those who are interested?
Yeah, I'll pull that up. Sure.
Excellent, thank you. Kathy's asking what LER means.
I can speak to that too if you want. LER means Learning and Employment Record. And there's an organization in the U.S. Chamber of Commerce that came up with this this concept of a learning and employment wrapper, and they were trying to figure out how to do these two type of verifiable credentials with this thing. And so this LER term became like coined as like, this is the new future for credentials. So open badges, I mean, any of the education standards, I think, fall under learning and employment records. That's all that it stands for, really.
It's become sort of catch-all.
What I
Yeah.
Well, actually, let's just answer Bill's question first.
So there's no LER wallet. There's a lot of different wallets. There is, and some of them do use decentralized identifiers that the IDs are based on blockchain. And that's sort of the tie to blockchain. There are some people who are issuing credentials that they're putting them on blockchain too. So yes, so a short answer is the LER, the learning employment records may contain credentials that are related to blockchain, but they don't have to.
There's a couple of
That's
things.
a very short answer for the amount of time that we have. But I put my email address in, or we can talk about it in the community too.
Yeah.
that'd
Some
be-
point,
that'd
Please
be
keep the
amazing.
conversation
Yeah,
going
email
for
address,
sure.
thank you.
Yeah, we'll do it there.
Yeah, a couple of things just to mention quickly. The first is that what I find fascinating about badges, and the thing which really attracted me 10 years ago, is that it can go really deep in loads of different places, like the technology and the pedagogy and the organizational change. And I used to describe badges as being like a Trojan horse for organizations to have conversations that they don't really have. And now I use the term Trojan mice because there's loads of different little conversations going on everywhere. The other thing which I find fascinating, I'm based in the UK, Laura's in Germany, we work with lots of people in the US and Canada and stuff, is the difference in different parts of the world in terms of what the assumed way of learning is. We have much more of an apprenticeship model in Europe, for example, than in the US, which tends to be more transactional. So there's different assumptions which people bring to the party or bring to the table when they're talking about badges, and different assumptions. And when you have those conversations between communities and between continents, it can open up your eyes to different possibilities as well. Any other questions before we wrap things up?
Well, it was wonderful having everyone here, and we are going to continue this conversation. And thank you I will be tagging people in the discussion so we can keep it going. And again, for those that are really just needing that foundational stuff, jump into those learning experiences and let us know what you think and if they're helpful.
And thank you for this collaboration. This is a great idea.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to be in there. See you all
right.
there.
All right. Yeah. And, again, great group.
Thanks everyone for
Bye,
coming.
everybody.
Happy Badge Summit all. See you later.
Yeah, yeah.
Bye.